you'll see it with, you know, crystal children. They won't like group activities so much. They will be the child who will want to go off on their own with their toy, with their doll, with their whatever they're playing with, and regroup. Because the crystal, when we are around lots of other people, you know, being the crystalline, being so transparent, being such a pure, sophisticated energy, the crystal child will do its work, you know, gives off all these really beautiful healing energetic frequencies, but will constantly need every so often to leave the group situation, be on their own, call back all aspects of the self, integrate. We need to integrate all the time. And if we don't integrate regularly, we suffer. We get sick. Our mood drops. We feel drained. We have fatigue. We can get allergies. You know, integration is everything for the crystal. And if you're not sure about what integration is, you know, look it up. Matt Kahn is actually, he's a great reminder for us, us sensitive souls, about integration. And really, it's just about regrouping. It's about calling back all aspects of the self and making sure that you're whole, making sure that your integral core is centered and in alignment. So first of all, there's enough for you. And that's something we need to remember as sensitive souls. If your energy is not full and brimming over, you're not going to have enough to give others. And that's just across the board. You know, you've got to have your own cup full before you can share you can overflow what's in your cup. But make sure that your own cup is full. And with the insatiable desire to help, heal, teach, assist as crystals, there can be this incredible spiritual drive to just give until there is zip and zero left. And I found in my life that's been, and I've talked to other crystals, it's the same. It's like, you know, it's like the hills. Our life kind of, you've got all this energy and you're going up the hill and you're giving, and you're on fire and you're creating and you're doing so much with your energy. Your life is just so fruitful. But we have a tendency not to know when to stop. So we just keep expending out that energy. So the energy keeps being expended until there's absolute burnout. Now, I don't burn out anymore because I've learned those lessons, and I learned them the hard way when I was much younger. So I've learned to recognize the signs and symptoms when I'm in overdrive of expenditure, of overgiving, of energy going outward too much that I'm not replenishing. So really for crystals, it's all about replenishment, you know. We have a lot to give, and we give a lot more than we realize. That's another thing about crystal souls. Like, I don't know how many times I'd be just sitting chatting with a friend. Actually, I was chatting with a friend having coffee not so long ago, and I mean, I'm just chatting in the moment casually, and she turns to me and she has this deer in headlights look, and I'm like, what did I say, you know? And she said to me, that was like an energetic slap in the face. And I said, what are you talking about? And she started to laugh, and she said, what you just said there, I so needed to hear that. Like, that hit home. I can't even remember what I said. Like, to me, I was just feeling the moment as you do, having a casual conversation with a cup of tea and a coffee with my friend. And she's like, that was destined. I needed to hear that. That happens to me all the time. I'm at the bus stop, I say something to someone, they're like, wow, you know, and I'm like, huh? So, you know, you'll see, if you're a crystal, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's being in the right place at the right time, divinely orchestrated, just knowing what people need to hear and how they need to hear it. We're brilliant. Crystals are amazing communicators. That really is, actually, that's one of our strongest traits, our strongest talents, innate talents. We are brilliant articulators, communicators. artistic expressors, you know, and we seem to have a gift for delivering what needs to be delivered at that precise moment where it really hits people's hearts. So that's something that is the beautiful part about being a crystal. The less desirable traits of the crystal is that we can be very idealistic. We are we have such clear memory of spirit. Spirit is so fresh in our consciousness that we can be impatient with the mundane, humdrum, everyday life. And we can be very, very frustrated with the slow pace of fleshing out what we want, the slow pace of earthly manifestation. Because we remember in spirit that anything that is desired is done. You know, it's instant, it's clear, it's instantaneous. So, you know, this thing of like, what? I have to actually wait. I have to plant the seed and wait for it to germinate and wait for it to sprout through the surface and actually let it grow. We're not the most patient, you know, definitely not the most patient. Not with other people. We're not impatient so much with other people. It's more with our life processes and with ourselves. We can be very impatient with ourselves. When it comes to doing our light work, our energy work, being healers, being teachers, being volunteers, we can have endless patience. You know, we never feel a need to rush healing in another, in our loved ones, in our friends, in our families, in our clients. We, in fact, that's what we're good at. We are light holders. We can hold a space for people. So, you know, really that's what a healer does. A healer really just holds the space for another person and reflects back the light, the true beauty, the pure innocence of the person who's being healed. That's all a healer really is. And that's the term light worker, light bringer. You know, you hold the light, and others, when they're with you, when they look into your eyes, can see their own light. That's what all the waves of souls, the 3 waves or even 4 waves, that's what it's all about. That's what pretty much everyone who comes here. If you're a soul that, you know, puts your hand up in spirit and says, I want to go to Gaia, I want to have an earth experience, you're pretty evolved already. You're a master in the spiritual perspective. You may not feel that, but it's true. When I talk to spirit, spirit always reminds me, you are not limited beings. You are not here to prove anything as such. Earth is one of the toughest environments to go into, and only the brightest and best students, if you will, in spirit decide to come here or are allowed to come here. So the fact that you're even here says a lot about you and your spiritual journey. So what else about the crystal souls? I think really the energetics of it can be quite tough for us, in that, you know, as I said, we can be very idealistic. So we have these very romantic, idyllic views of life and how things should be. So very physical, very earthly, very grounded experiences can really blow our minds. Like the first time a crystal soul will have sex will be, it's like, I know it can be like that for everybody, but crystals, because we are so emotional, we're so energetic, and we're so sensual and visual with our energetic experiences. It would not be good for a crystal to engage in casual sex so much, because we can see the energetic exchange that happens between two people when they have sex. And it is a massive energetic exchange when people have sex. We can see the spiritual significance of it. So those kind of experiences really like go deep, you know, they hit home. So the things that some other people, what I've noticed with my journey as a crystal is like other experiences where people just can have a very grounded physical experience and just shake it off, like maybe have a blazing row with someone. You know, maybe you're in work and I notice a friend have a blazing row with the boss and they can just kind of shake it off like water off a duck's back and go, you know, he's an asshole, whatever, and go back to work or get a cup of tea or whatever. Crystals can't do that. No, 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 no. If we have a massive emotional exchange, energetic exchange, it, you know, it really hits us. So we'd be inclined, until we get a handle on holding that space and holding that grounded energy I talked about staying in the physical body. Experiences of conflict, of, you know, if there's shouting or rowing or arguments or anything that's not peaceful and not crystalline can really floor us. So, you know, we could be physically sick after having a blazing row with someone, or we could just be depressed or really shook up, you know. Any massive kind of very physical arguments or conflict and things like that can literally, like, you know, shake a crystal where they're literally shaken for the rest of the day, and just their core is destroyed, their solar plexus just, you know, turns, like, breaks like glass. Because we're not great. That's one thing I will say. We are not great at being grounded beings. We're not the best at grounding. It doesn't come so naturally to us because we just feel more at home in the divine, in the spiritual side of things, in the energetics of things. We're much more in our emotional bodies. Our physical bodies can be a bit of a struggle for us. So we often suffer with very cold feet and very cold hands. The only time my hands really heat up and feel lovely and warm is when I'm doing energy healing, when I'm working on someone's etheric bodies, you know, doing a session. Then my hands burn like really strong and give off a lovely heat. But for the most part, our hands and feet will be very cold because we don't really reside in the physical body. We should, and we should practice doing that. Which is why I'd say physical activity is vital. Physical activity is so important for crystal souls. It's important that you engage in something that really pulls you back into your physical body, like jogging, you know, pounding on the ground really pulls you, focuses you in. Dancing is brilliant for crystals because that's the artistic, expressive, you know, energetic side. Trampolining is great, cycling, sports are great, keep you very grounded, keep you very physical. So working out is definitely a priority for crystals because, as I said, there is definitely a struggle for staying grounded. We're very happy to float out of the physical body and, you know, as they say, wave the fairies up in the clouds, so to speak, with spirit. Because that's really where we feel home. We don't quite fully feel home in the physical, having a physical experience. However, we know that we kind of signed up for this. And if we don't know that, as we get older, we'll usually come around to remembering that and knowing that. Another trait or common one for crystals can be that when life gets tough and we really feel overwhelmed, getting overwhelmed is a big one for crystal souls. Again, it's that need to regroup, to integrate. Once we're integrating regularly, keeping ourselves grounded, eating well, plant-based, you know, keeping ourselves on an even keel, keeping that aligned